Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar training on how to use Slack, our internal communication tool. My name is Karina. I am the volunteer coordinator for the Center for Biological Diversity. I'm currently working from home here in Tucson, Arizona. I also have our organizing intern Griselda on with me today to help me run today's webinar. So just to get started, a few tech items. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A and chat function. Feel free to use those to ask questions during the webinar. Sometimes they can be answered during the webinar, but at the end, we will also have time to answer those. And you can use the chat function to converse amongst yourself if you'd like. Also, if you miss anything during our webinar, no need to take notes. We will send a recording of this webinar as well as a way to get on Slack if you're not already on it, in an email tomorrow to all of our registrants. So today we'll be going over some basics on how to use Slack so you can interact with our online community, connecting you to our activists nationwide, and also so you can take actions together. Slack is similar to an online instant messaging platform, so you can instantly message others as well as stay up to date in real time. And like I mentioned, once we run through the slides together, we will have time for a Q&A at the end, and we will also do a screen share so you can see in real time what Slack looks like and where everything is located. Okay, well, let's get into the meat of this. Okay, so the first thing to do is to create a Slack account for our specific workspace, Mobilize for the Wild. You can do this by going to this mobilizeforthewild.slack.com. You can notice there's a hyphen in between Mobilize for the Wild, each word. Once you type that into your internet browser, it will ask you to log in with your account information. The great thing about Slack is you can also download the Slack app to your computer, phone, or tablet. And when you do this, it asks you for the workspace, and the workspace is Mobilize for the Wild with the hyphen in between the words. So if you already made an account with our workspace, you just need to go there and log in. If you have already made an account with another organization, you will need to create a new account in order to access Mobilize for the Wild specifically. Then once you do that, you can add Mobilize for the Wild to your app or on your internet browser, and you can actually toggle between the different spaces, which is really neat if you use this for multiple organizations. If you know of someone who would like to join our Slack space and get involved, please message one of our staff and they can provide you with the link to share so they can sign up as well. All right, so when you first join Slack, you will receive a welcome message from what we call the welcome bot. And the welcome bot will explain to you different channels and ask you to adhere to our principles and guidelines of communicating with each other so that we're respectful, and also it helps with our productivity and our different channels we have. This message also lists staff members that you can contact with questions as well. So you can find that under your welcome bot greeting message. So when you first get on, you're automatically added to 3 channels. Our Mobilize for the Wild activist channel, which is our main channel, the link sharing channel, and usually a current campaign channel. Right now it's the endangered species channel. You can find other channels and campaigns that you may be interested in by clicking the plus sign next to the word channel. So basically all of your menu options will really be in the left-hand purple column when you open up your app. And so once you click the plus sign next to the word channels, you'll be able to browse all the other campaigns and other teams that exist. And you can usually click on it and it will pop up explaining more about the channel. And usually the name of the channel is very self-explanatory. There are also specific private channels that exist, such as our different online teams doing work, like our volunteer texting team, data entry team, and outreach teams. So these are channels that are not visible to the public eye when you're browsing. So if you join Slack to be a volunteer to do one of these things, you will have to contact a staff member or that channel's moderator to be added to that channel. So a little bit more about the channels. Like I mentioned, the names are really self-explanatory, but each channel does have a specific purpose for our workflow. Once you find channels that you use most frequently, some things that you can do in order to be able to find it more easily again is to star it. And so that marks it as your favorites. So up at the top next to the, you can see at the bottom there, next to the name of the channel, there's a little star icon and you can click that. What it does is it moves the channel to the top of your purple column so you don't have to scroll through a bunch of channels to go back and find the ones that you use the most. Also at the top of the channel is a push pin icon. So it's in a kind of lighter gray color, so it might be easier to miss, but the push pin icon is actually really nifty. It is what is called as pin posts. So often these are posts that are made by staff that contain important information about the channel or actions and updates. So when you click the pin icon, it will actually populate every single pinned post to the right of your screen, and you can read through anything important that you think you might have missed. Another thing that you can do is if you want to see if we've previously discussed a certain topic, or maybe you have a question that you think might have been answered previously, you can use a search bar at the top and search for specific keywords or even messages from a specific person, like a staff person if you wanted to. And also another thing that you can do here is that when you are on a break or on vacation, you can actually snooze your notifications, which comes in handy, especially if it's on your phone. You don't want to get notifications all the time. Also here in this menu, you can also snooze your notifications, and I'll show you that when we do the screen share. Okay, so moving on to messages here. Okay, so direct messages are a great way to get in touch with someone personally. So your replies don't get lost within a channel, or they don't see it with a bunch of other replies. Also, since we like to keep the channel relatively clear for on-topic discussions and action alerts, messaging is a great way to continue your conversation with someone that you were previously talking with. Something neat that you can do is actually do a group message, direct message. But one thing that happens is, let's say, for example, person A and person B starts a group message. You can't add someone to that pre-existing message. You'll actually have to create a new message if you want to add person C to your groups as well. And how you can actually do that is in the purple column, you will see direct messages, and there is a plus sign next to that. So once you click the plus sign, it starts a new message, and you can actually start typing the @ symbol and someone's name and just continue to add people from there if you wanted to make it into a group. A neat thing about messages is that it also has the favorite function as well with the star. So if this is someone that you talk to regularly or a conversation that you want to come back to, you can also mark this as a favorite by clicking the star at the top of the message too. Something that's really neat is when you directly message someone, you can actually see if they are online or not by the green dot next to their name. So that will also let you know that they're online and available to chat. Or if someone's not available, it will show up as gray. So you might wait a little bit longer for a reply. Okay, so here are some other things that you can do when interacting within our channels or even messages. So if you're on the computer, you can hover over a message and see different interaction options to the top right of the message, which on your screen here, it's boxed in red. So the smiley icon is to add an emoji reaction. These are really neat, and you can see a huge variety of emojis that you can add to a message. And so when you click on the smiley icon, You can add an emoji that's totally new, or if you see that someone's already reacted and you want to say ditto to that emoji reaction, all you have to do is click on the emoji that is already there. If you're on the phone or a tablet, what you can actually do is press and hold down on that message, and you will see these same functions pop up that are in the red box when you click and hold down on your phone or tablet. The one next to the emoji icon is a thread or subthread icon. So what this does is it actually keeps replies within that message. So instead of posting it to the main channel and just seeing a bunch of different replies that might get lost in conversation, you can actually reply to this specific message and just keep replying to this subtopic. And this way it keeps our channel cleaner and messages much easier to find as well. It will also notify the original poster of your reply, so you can continue the discussion without losing place of where you were already. So that's a really neat function as well. Whenever you get any notifications, so how it will appear is there will be an unread message icon at the top of your purple column, and it will be bright white and bold, and that's how you know you have an unread message that's waiting for you, or a notification. Another thing that you can do, which is also neat, is you can include links or attachments to any of your posts. So I will show you that once we do our screen share, but basically where you compose your message in that box, there's a bunch of different tools to add URLs, add attachments, add pictures, files. So there's a lot of different things to edit your message when you post that you can do. And also another thing that's here in the option menu that's boxed in red is the 3 dots to the very far right. So the 3 dots is a way that you can edit a pre-existing message. So let's say that you typed up a message and you submitted it, and then all of a sudden you realize that there's a typo or something else that you messed up on. You can actually click the 3 dots and there will be an option to edit your message, or you can even delete the message. So you don't have to duplicate your message by reposting it again correctly. You can either edit it or delete it and repost whatever it was that you wanted to post instead. You can also find a lot of different options there under the 3 dots. So my suggestion to you would be to click around and try different things and see what pops up for you. Okay, so I think that pretty much comes to the conclusion of the main functions of Slack. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and share my screen. So my screen may look a little bit different from yours since I am an administrator of this Slack space, but I just wanted to show you guys some of the things that we talked about here. So you can see to the left, I actually have multiple organizations that use Slack. So I can actually toggle between these workspaces when I'm using Slack. So here's our Mobilize for the Wild Slack space. And here's the star function. So basically, you can see up here in star, removing this will take it out of the top of my channels, and then starring it will move it back here. Here are the pinned items. So you can click on the pinned items here, and it will populate all of these important posts that we've made in the past. And you can look and see what we've done in the past. Also, here is the search bar. You can search from anyone for anything. So that's a really neat tip to have. Before I was talking about snoozing your notifications in case you're on vacation. So here, this little important info circle, you'll actually find what I just pulled up here. So you can actually snooze or mute notifications. And so that will actually stop you from getting notifications every time that you're off or you don't want to see them if it's late at night or something like that. So you can definitely mute notifications for a specific channel. Okay, so the other things that we talked about here were these emoji icons. So you can actually add emojis here, or you can duplicate an emoji that someone already has added here. Here's where you would create a subthread for a topic. And like you can see here, this is where we keep replying to the same thing. And then we have another option here where you can edit your post. And keep in mind that you can only edit a post you made and not what someone else made. And same with deleting a message here. So you can also do those things using this three dot option. And here at the bottom of your post, you can actually adjust different things. Like you can make this bold, for example, you can italicize it. So you can do a bunch of neat things to edit your message and make it look a little bit more dynamic. You can also add a link here, and you would just type in the URL that you have. And then you can also add a file here from either your computer or Google Drive or something like that. So if maybe you have a article that you want to share, you can actually go to the link sharing channel here and just post it right here. If you want to learn a little bit more about the channel that you are looking at, you can read in here the important info, what this is about. So it describes the channel. And then here is where you would browse. So this plus sign here is where you would browse channels, and you can see all the different things that we're working on. So if you'd like to join, for example, the California channel, you'll click on it and see the option to join here. Same with direct messages. You can open a direct message and you can basically start a conversation with anyone. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it. Let's see if we have any questions here. Griselda, do you want to share the question screen? Okay, so it looks like we have a couple questions here. So yes, so the recording we will send to you tomorrow will include this video. So there are some things that you'll be able to see. So for example, it looks like some people can't see the pinned posts for some reason. So it might just depend on the channel that you're in. So I would try to check around the different channels and see if you can access pinned posts there. So that might be a reason why. Let's see here. I think we have another question in the chat. Oh, okay, great. Dale learned some new things. So that's awesome. Are there any other questions? Okay, so yeah, if you wanted to add another organization that you're a member of on the left channel, let me go ahead and see here. So what you would do is if you're on the computer, you will see a plus sign underneath the icon, the little image icon to your left, and there will be a plus sign, and so you can add a workspace that way if you're part of another organization. Good question. Okay, let's see here. All right, so it looks like that may be all the questions we have. I will give everyone maybe another minute or two to see if there are any other questions that come up in your usage of Slack. Just a few other things that may be really helpful is that you can browse through a lot of different channels and see what other people are doing. But also you will get notifications when staff tags the whole entire channel. And so that is something that you can look forward to every Monday and Wednesday. So Mondays, we have what are called Slack community building posts that happen in our main channel. So for example, today Griselda did our mental health check-in, and so that's a great way for you to interact with other people on the channel. It's not activism related, but it's just a way to get to know each other. So that usually happens on Mondays. Currently in the time of COVID, we're doing asks or actions you can take on Wednesdays. So definitely tune into Slack on Wednesdays where we'll be posting that. And then every Friday we have a live Q&A session, either in our endangered species channel or our main channel. So every first Friday of the month, it will be in our main channel, and every other Friday, it's in our endangered species channel. So from noon to 1 Pacific time, you will have the opportunity to talk to a staff or an expert on a specific topic on Slack. Like I mentioned before, it's like an instant messaging platform, so you'll be getting your questions answered in real time with one of our staff members, which is really great. Okay, looks like we have some more questions. Okay, so yes, so when you click the pin, it will say 39 pin posts. So yes, you are correct. That is where the pinned information will live. Depending on if you're on phone or computer, it does vary. Computer is usually the most ideal way to use Slack, but of course some of us aren't always at the computer. So if it's on your phone, it might look a little bit different. Okay, another question. So the right arrow and the bookmark functions. So the right arrow is how you can share a message. So for example, if you are part of the Wolf Campaign channel, so if you're part of the Wolf Campaign channel and you wanted to share a message to somewhere else, you can actually use that right arrow to forward the message to someone either not in the channel or maybe someone missed it, and you can forward that message directly to that person. Another thing that you can use, which Dale asked about, is the bookmark icon. So that is right next to the right arrow. And that is where next to the emoji, subthread, and the 3 dots. So that's a way that you can share or save your own messages for your own use. So like I mentioned, the pinned messages are pinned by staff, which are important updates. But if there's something that someone mentions that you'd like to come back to, the bookmark is something that's really great that you can use for your personal use. All right, what else here? And then don't worry if you're not catching all of this. Like I mentioned, we will be resending the recording again if you need to brush up on anything. And then once you get to using Slack a little more, like I suggested, click around on some buttons. You know, nothing that you do is permanent on Slack. So if you make a mistake, you can definitely reach out, but the best way to learn is to really try to press the buttons and see what happens when you use them. Just using it and getting familiar with it is really a great way to kind of reinforce a lot of these skills. Okay, so some people are receiving warnings of out of space from Slack. So you can just disregard that. So what it is that when people share files or pictures, a lot of times our Slack workspace doesn't save them from 2 years or further back. So no need to worry about that. It's just something that people they try to get you to upgrade to more space and more data, but it's not something that we usually use. A lot of our files and documents that we share with you guys live on the center's Google Drive. So when we share it to Slack and it's not available after 2 years, you can always ask us and we can resend it to you. So nothing on Slack is permanent, like I mentioned before. Okay, so let's see, we have a few more questions here. Okay, so like I said, if you have any more questions and answers, or questions, we can answer them in the next few minutes here. We're really great on time. But like I said, you can definitely rewatch this video again. Definitely try everything that we mentioned here. Try all the buttons. If you're on mobile, try pressing down and clicking on different things. Mobile definitely functions a little bit different from the computer, but you can try out things and see how it goes. And if you mess up in any way, like making a mistake post or liking something that you didn't mean to like, you can completely undo it. It's really easy. You can ask staff to help you out as well. And like I said, there is a what's called a welcome bot meeting or greeting. So if you look for messages from your welcome bot, it should also give you some instructions as well on how to use Slack. Okay, I'm going to give it another minute to see if we have any other questions. Okay, so we have a request to do a screen share one last time for anyone who missed that previously. So I'm going to share my screen here one more time. All right, so here's the screen share one more time, going over a few things again. Right here is the plus sign where you would add your other organization if you are using Slack for a different workspace. This is where you would get add and remove things from your favorites list. So here's the starred. Here are the pin posts. They should populate to your right here. So you can collapse this, or you can click it here and it should open up all the pin posts that you have. So that might be something, if you're not seeing the pin posts, that might be a reason why. Again, here is where you would add a emoji. Here's where you would reply to the thread, and it will populate here on your right-hand side where you can directly reply to a topic. And again, here's your personal bookmark. So if you wanted to save something that maybe wasn't pinned before, you can actually save a bookmark here. You can also forward a specific message to someone that you know who might have missed it. And then this 3 dots is where you can do things like remind yourself about this post. You can delete a message on your own posts. You can use this 3 dot function to edit your message. So you'll be able to edit what you actually wrote, or you can even go in and delete a message that you accidentally post or you didn't want to be posted there. Again, some other things is just browsing through channels with this plus sign here, and you can browse channels and see what other people are working on. You can also create a direct message by finding people. You can just start typing their name. Like if I wanted to start talking to Griselda, you can see I can actually do that here. And you can even star some of these if you want to add them to your favorites. And so that will create a favorite direct message as well. And then another thing that I had mentioned going over again is if you want to learn more about a specific channel, you can click this eye up here and it will show you details, and you will be able to see a description of what the channel is for, as well as mute this channel if you no longer want notifications. So those are the main functions that you will use in Slack. And again, like I said, you will receive an email with a recording of this webinar, as well as a link to sign up for Slack if you haven't already. So with that being said, it looks like there are no more questions. Or let's see here. It looks like we have a hand raised. Okay, so Ronaldo, it looks like you have a question. I'm gonna unmute you and allow you to talk, and you can ask your question.
Online formats.
Hi, Ronaldo, can you hear us?
Exacerbate inequality. Yes, I can hear you. I've got the multitasking here. Yes, your question about your response to getting these messages that I'm out of space. How can that be? Because I've just joined Slack, but as I think you explained it, that it's nothing I should pay attention to. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. So basically it's a message that goes out to all Slack users in this workspace.
Yes.
Like I mentioned, it's just something, they're trying to get us to update to more data, but it's something that we haven't really needed. So it's like whenever someone shares a link or a photo, it just means that it won't be available after 2 years. And so that's something that we're not too worried about.
Right. Well, thank you. This has been great, and I'm looking forward to the transcript to review some of the points because there are a lot to grasp in just a few minutes.
Yeah, definitely. I totally understand that. Yes, thank you for your question.
Yep.
Okay, well, I don't think I see any more raised hands or questions. If you, for some reason, miss the email in your inbox for some reason, you can go to savinglife.org and savinglifeonearth.org, sorry, and you will be able to see the posted recording there. I will also post this to Slack tomorrow, so if you're already on Slack, I will post the recording link so you can find it there. As I mentioned, you'll also receive an email follow-up with this recording as well as a link to get on Slack. And then if there's any other questions at all, feel free to reach out to myself or Griselda or any other staff on Slack to help you get more acquainted. Definitely play around on Slack. You can Google different things if you want to find out how to do things on Slack as well. But basically everything that was discussed here in this webinar should be the basics to get you through interacting with other people on Slack and how to really use Slack to the best of your ability. So, oh, my phone is reacting to me saying Google. But thanks so much for joining our training. Happy Slacking and can't wait to chat with all of you there. Thanks so much. Have a good night.